to do is start out with a little invocation and a little meditation. So just to welcome everyone, as some of you know, I'm an old shamanic practitioner, so I like to welcome the spirits in the beginning. For those of you who have other beliefs and other ways of doing that, just bear with me and just get clear about what you want and what called you to be here. So I'm just going to take a moment to feel my feet on the floor and invite you to do the same thing. And just notice that you're breathing, which is wonderful that we have a breath, and it's been a rhythm that's been with us our whole life. And when we're looking at the area of stress and overwhelm and anxiety, the breath is our best friend. So we really honor just being in our body, feeling our feet on the floor, and breathing. As we welcome the 7 directions, we welcome the spirits of the north, the spirits of our ancestors, of Mother Earth, Pachamama. We're grateful for the beauty and for the incredible gift of giving that Pachamama gives us every day that we often don't express our gratitude for, but this abundance of beauty and nourishment that we get. And we honor our ancestors. And all of us have hundreds of thousands of years of our ancestral learning to be resilient. They've been through all the things we're going through now, and they're with us here today. So we honor the spirits of the north. We honor the spirits of the east, the spirit of the rising sun, new beginnings. And I really intend that this class here that we're doing today be a beginning for you on the road to having your stress rather be something that holds you back, something that opens you to a greater awakening to your own power, your own creativity, your own abilities, and that stress becomes an ally and a friend and a teacher to us and shine. And so this shining of the first light, may this be that light. And we honor the spirits of the east, and we honor the spirits of the south, the spirit of the sun. And we thank the sun for the light and for the gift of warmth, the spirit of love and connection. And here we are sitting with people from all around the world together in different continents and different countries. And we're connected. We're connected by this amazing miracle of technology. And it's not some picture off there. We're showing up in each other's nervous system. So it's a beautiful way to connect, particularly when we hold the attention and intention that we are all connected, that we aren't separate. And we welcome the spirits of the south, and we welcome the spirits of the west, the spirit of the setting sun, of going inward, the water spirits. We honor the water, and that corresponds to our emotions. And we invite the spirits of our emotions to awaken and be present in here, because emotions are the fabric of relationship. It's how we relate together when we can feel and experience our emotions and other people's. And so we call in the spirits of the west, and we honor the earth, the air, the fire, the wind at our back, and Pachamama, and all the spirits and ancestors and all the other beings. May the work that we do be an honoring of the winged ones and the finned ones and the creepers and the crawlers and the two-leggeds and the four-leggeds and all the beings that are part of this cycle of life that we are a part of. And so we begin this class today with a sense of being connected and a sense of being held by our ancestors and by life itself. And thank you so much for participating and being a part of this journey that we're on today. So I want to start out with asking some questions, and you can respond by raising your hand or by writing in the chat, so there's no need. I really like it when people show up on the screen. When I'm looking at you all now, there's 3 pages of people here, so I'm just noticing how many people are here, and it's really great to be with you. So when we're talking about stress, it's kind of a phantom, and I'm going to talk about that, but I want to look at what are some of the stresses in your life, and if you could write them in your chat. What are the things that cause you stress? Just to begin to actually engage in that conversation. And how do you deal with stress when it comes up? I just moved. In fact, there's boxes all around me. I literally got here 2 days ago, and it was just an insane, crazy, stress-inducing 5 days of packing, and the power went out. We were packing by candlelight, and it was very stressful. We all have times when there's stress, but the question is, how do we meet stress? And that's what we're going to be looking at here. How do we deal with stress? And just as you're inquiring with yourself about that, notice if there's any recurring stress patterns. Like lots of people have recurring stress around money, or around relationships, or around family, or work. There's like these recurring stresses that we have. And so we want to really work with that today. So I'm trying to get up on the table, like, what are your stresses? Hi, Daisha. It's so good to see you. And Kristen and some of our longtime students are here. Hi, Peg. And the last question I want to ask is, what is the impact of stress on your life? What is the cost of this stress that we live with, this thing that we call stress? So Deborah, maybe you can read a few of them, and if anybody wants to actually talk about them, just wave your hand or raise your hand, and we will, let me make sure I can do that. Oop, wrong cursor.
Sure. We've got a family, home, and finances,
right.
Stressing about children and our health, forgetting to stay in the now,
Yeah.
time, deep breaths, and return to the center, work and finances, again, uncertainty of the future and unstable relationships,
Yeah.
health, family, too much to do, COVID, rage,
Yeah.
health, family health, accessing higher self and creativity, too much to do, too many duties and responsibilities,
Yeah.
emotional overwhelm.
Just listen to listen to your body when these are being read. It's like, oh, I'm already feeling stressed just listening to them all. I don't know about you, but right, it's one of the things we do. Actually, we talk about how stressed you. How are you? Oh, I'm so stressed, and then it becomes almost a competition. Me too. I've got so much on my plate, and we get stressed when we're talking about how stressed we are, um, rather than, well, what is this thing we're calling stress? So I want to jump in and start talking about it. And later on, I'm going to do some exercises for grounding and a meditation, perhaps. We'll see how things go. But again, please be open to participating. Raise your hand anytime if it's not clear what I'm talking about, and be involved. So we're not just having one pandemic, we're actually having 2 pandemics, maybe many more than that. I would say climate is probably also a pandemic, but one of the biggest pandemics is a pandemic of stress, and it has enormous cost. It has cost in the workplace, it has cost to our physical, emotional life. It is estimated that stress is at least partially, if not completely, the cause of 75% of 90 to 90% of all illness. And the impact on the physical, mental, emotional, and relational um, identity or connection is highly threatened by that. It's kind of like we've normalized stress, like we're frogs in a pot. You put a frog in a pot of cold water and you turn the heat on and it just gets hotter and hotter and it boils, and before the frog knows it's in trouble, it's already boiled. And we're kind of in that situation with stress. It lives in the background all the time. And we use this word stress, but what does stress really mean? That's the real question, because the word itself tends to hide what's going on, which means we don't have any access to it. If you look in the dictionary, the definition in Webster's dictionary is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. Now, notice that focus, demanding circumstances, puts the stress coming to us from the outside. That the definition is like it's from the outer world. Sorry, somebody came in there. And so the interpretation is there's no access to altering the circumstances that we're in, because everything is about outside me. It's not in me. And it's like saying, you've heard me say this before, like saying I'm sick. Well, what does that mean, I'm sick? When I say I'm sick, I could have a cold or I could have stage 4 cancer, but it really doesn't tell me anything. And it's the same when we use the word stress. People say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed. And what we're really saying, something is too much. What we're looking at is, when I say I'm stressed, something is too much. And the word is a phantom that obscures the underlying causes and the internal issues that are behind this pandemic of stress. So what stress is really telling us is that my current capacity is insufficient to meet the challenges and difficulties that I'm currently facing, that my current capacity. So when we're looking at stress, it's not an issue of what's happening out there. It's an issue of what's happening within me, my capacity to meet the issues. And basically, stress is a resistance to what is and thinking that things should be other than the way they are. If we could totally be with things the way they are, there wouldn't be any stress. But it's like, no, things shouldn't be this way, but that's the way they are. So we have this dilemma when we're talking about stress, that we're not present. We're dealing with our concerns about the remembered past and our concerns about what's going to happen in the future. So we're basically gone. We're not here when we're stressed. We're in our head, we're thinking about it, but we're not presencing ourselves in the moment. So what's underneath that stress is something like, I'm scared. I'm worried about something. I don't want to be shamed. I don't want to look bad. I don't want what happened in the past to me to happen again. So I'm going to protect myself, or I'm going to defend myself. It's not my fault. This is not my fault. I didn't do it. Some of you can recognize that one. So when we come up against stress, what we do is we revert to habitual patterns that were similar in the past, which causes an increase in cortisol, and that's a stress-inducing enzyme, I guess it is, in your body, and that creates more stress and more tension in your body. So most of the courses that you'll see on stress, if you've looked at stress courses online, most of what you'll see is get more exercise, get enough sleep, have a healthy diet, Take breaks during the day. Don't multitask. Take control of the situation. And all of those things are great and they're important. Maybe the control one is, we can talk about control later, but all of them are good things, but they don't allow you any access to real personal change, personal transformation. Those of you who have studied with me and have been with me before know that pretty much anything I do starts with the word embodied. Embodied mysticism, embodied shamanism, embodied stress work, because, well, part of that's because I studied with Gabrielle Roth for 40 years, the person who started the 5 rhythms. So, I really am seriously about what's happening in my body. And mostly we're disembodied, we're disconnected from our emotions as they happen on our body. We think our body and we think our emotions, but we're not having them, because an embodied practice says life is happening through me, not to me. When you're in a embodied practice, whatever is occurring, if you're in the present moment, it's moving through you. But because of these things from the past that we've suppressed or pushed down, we reignite those, and we don't go to the nervous system, we don't go to the emotions, we don't go to the sensations in the body. But life happens through me, not to me. And it's through my nervous system, through my cells, through my emotions, through the thoughts I have, through my social and relational networks, through my interactions with everyday things that are happening. But mostly, as I said, we try to deal with stress from our mind. And it's not a mind issue. It's a embodied issue. So in order to increase capacity, we need to learn to inner witnessing, the practice of inner witnessing. And there's many ways to do that: meditation, movement, contemplation, prayer, finding stillness in whatever way you can. There's many ways to do that, but it's a must if we don't want to continue to perpetuate the way we've dealt with things in the past, which were stress inducing. So the capacity to witness my body, to witness my emotions, to witness my thoughts, to witness my interactions and my relatedness with others, and not become dissociated when something gets overwhelming, is the issue that we look at when we're looking at, okay, how can I expand my capacity? So that's really the issue, is this issue of inner capacity, literally inner space. Now, just take a moment and check into your own body. Do you feel tight and cramp or pressure here? Or do you feel spacious and open, and like there's like your what do they call it? Your RAM memory, like you have space on your drive for more. It's not your memory, your short-term memory is not full. It's like, oh, I'm at 30%, I still have 70% capacity. Or maybe, 95%, I'm getting these things, pay more, get more storage. Maybe that's coming up for you. But it's really this inner storage that we're talking about. How do we expand our capacity, our inner space? Another way of saying that is, how much life can I hold? How much can I actually allow life to just move through me, to be with whatever's happening? So ultimately, stress is an amazing teacher. And that's one of the things I want to address today, is the power of learning how to use stress as a teacher, as something that can help us to awaken to our essential goodness, to our most present self, our most authentic self. So we all have a certain amount of interior space or capacity, and it's dictated by our family, our ancestors, our environment, our cultural belief, and our experiences in life. And so, again, what fills that up is unexperienced events from the past, places where our nervous system said, that's too much. We need to push this down. And so from very early on, and so much of the stress responses come from the first 6 or 7 years, that's where they were set up. And so a reminder of that comes up and we're gone, because we have a system that is designed to heal. There's nothing wrong. It's the nervous system says, if this child cries anymore, it's going to die. So we'll shut that part down. We'll shut that soothing, nurturing part down right now. If this person has to go through this pain of this divorce, we're going to shove something down. If this death in the family, we have to push a part of our essential self down. And so the nervous system is very intelligent. It's your friend. It says, this is too much for you right now, given your capacity, because you're young, you don't have the capacity that maybe you'll get. So it pushes, it dissociates. In shamanism, they call it soul loss. It pushes down part of your essence, part of your ability to relate or to deal with men or to deal with women or to deal with money or to deal with your own fear, all kinds of different areas, but it gets pushed down inside of us and it's invisible, it's frozen, it's taking up space in your inner capacity, but you don't know it. It shows up as numbness or not being able to feel. And so it's an example. I have always used different examples. The one I'm using lately, not the chickens one, you've all heard, most of you have heard that, the frozen chickens, but it's like if I had a beach ball, think of it as a beach ball. So an event happens and I don't want to have that happen, and the beach ball represents it. So I'm in the water and I hold the beach ball down. Now, it took energy to push the beach ball down, but it takes energy continuously to hold it down. And then I have another little event that comes up that's stressful, and I go, I push another beach ball down, and that takes more energy to push it down, and it continues, like your refrigerator continues to keep parts frozen. It continues to use more and more energy, and that's what uses up our capacity, is all these areas that have been pushed down, that have been dissociated. Now, when you begin to meditate and you first sit, I don't know how many of you have a meditation practice. Just wave your hand a little bit. Oh, good, great, awesome. So one of the things that you discover very soon on in a real serious serious, I don't mean serious, but a devout practice, is that you're meditating, and at first it's kind of all groovy and sunshine and teddy bears and unicorns and happiness, and then you do it for a while and it gets like, oh, energy moving through you, and you want to shake and you want to scratch, and all this stuff starts coming up, and you go, oh, okay, this is not working. No, that's really when meditation starts to work, because you've created space for those frozen things that are in you to come up, so that you can make a relationship with them, so that you can embrace and love them. Because trying to fix something that's not broken keeps things broken. Does that make sense? We think there are things that need to be fixed about us. Oh, if I just take this next course, if I just do this, if I just do that, then it'll be all right. Well, what you're saying is, in this moment, I have this thing. Well, there's never anything else but this moment. So the more I try to fix something, the more I'm acknowledging its existence. I'm creating its existence, because the resistance creates the existence, the persistence of it. So let me see, there was something I wanted to say about, yeah. So there's a thing that I often talk about in courses that I've worked with for years. It's called the Paradoxical. It's from a Gestalt 2-year program I did one time. It's the Paradoxical Theory of Change. And it says that change occurs when one becomes what one is, rather than when one tries to be what one is not. Change comes when we are what we are, not when we try to change what and who we are. So change doesn't come through coercion or persuasion or an effort to be something other or be somewhere else than I am. Change happens when I abandon, even for a moment, what I'd like to be, what should be, and instead become authentically with what's happening. Then the conditions for real change come up, because I then acknowledge that, and those things that were suppressed that come up in the meditation, and I just love them. Like Thich Nhat Hanh used to say, can you love your little anger? And he held his hands out like this, can you hold your little anger like that? It's embracing these things. And then you can begin to get under the covers and see what's really going on there. And that's how we heal, not by fixing, not by changing, not by forcing, but by really seeing what's authentically and truly happening now in my body, in my emotions, with my thoughts. And so when we let go of trying to get rid of stress, we make meaningful and coherent changes. And what I mean by coherent is coherence being the alignment. Because most of us, our thoughts are doing one thing, our body is doing another, and our emotions are saying another thing. And our relationship to being related is absent because we're not even connected to ourselves, and we can't connect to others if we're not connected to ourselves. Does that make sense? Okay, so if anybody has a comment or question, jump in there. I want to keep going with this, but I also know that being talked to death is a horrible death. So I just want to make sure we're interacting and we're connected here with that. So anyone, anything that you want to raise your hand about? If not, we'll just move on. But okay. So one of the most inhibiting and frustrating aspects of the field of personal growth, and I say that, and I'm on the faculty of the Shift Network, so I'm in the game, but one of the most inhibiting and frustrating aspects of that is that personal growth comes out of a mindset, for the most part, not for everyone, but for the most part, that something's broken, something's wrong, something needs to be fixed. If I could just tweak this. I remember playing chess and being stoned as a in my early 20s, and I looked at my friend and I said, if I could just get over this last little bit of resistance. And we both broke into laughter, like, really? If I could just get over this last bit of resistance. No, you're never going to get over it. I'm 75 and I'm not over it yet. So, but the mindset, to be aware of the mindset and how much we think, and it comes from a place of lack, of scarcity, that I'm not enough, that the world's not enough, that there's not enough money, that there's not enough good women, good men. There's, it's this area of scarcity that we have. And also this myth of separation, that we're somehow separate. And I want to talk more about that later, but the thing that we really need to get is that not only are we not broken, but every time those kind of thoughts or these kind of stressful, overwhelming situations come up, it's a road sign. It says, hey, pay attention, turn right, turn left, go straight, go in. And so we, between the stimulus, the trigger, whatever happens that we get stressed, and the response or reaction. We have a choice. And that choice is to react like we've always done, or to respond to the highest advantage for you and anyone else that's involved in the situation. So capacity is directly related to that space between the stimulus and the response. Oh, I'm triggered. Sometimes, I used to get triggered, and especially having PTSD, I would get triggered for weeks, and I'd be going over, he said that, and that's so wrong, and they did this, and and then as I meditated and learned to meditate, and more, that space that was so tight got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I could swim in it and say, somebody I had a trailer in California full of all my art, all my photographs, one of these big, what do they call it, a Wells cargo, the biggest Wells cargo, filled with camping stuff, bicycles, treasures. And a couple months ago, my friend, it was on his land, locked behind a gate in his land, and called me up and said, somebody broke in and came in with a truck and went off with your trailer. But told me 2 weeks after it happened, because he was too embarrassed to call me and tell me when it happened. So it was pretty much, a done deal. And I realized that because I'm doing this work and doing a lot of meditation, it was like trigger, breath. Oh, I guess I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. And it was that fast. And this kind of work can really give you that kind of place where you can just go, yeah, well, that's what's so. It's gone. I can spend a lot of energy worrying about that trailer and all my pictures and my paintings and, some really valuable stuff. My tax records they could take, but the rest of it, But there's this place where we have a choice. And so I think we have to first get real with the fact we were born whole and complete. Some of us say, oh, I don't feel like I belong. But you were born, you're here, you were born into this life, and you were born whole and complete. There can be mental and physical and emotional issues and challenges, lots of people have that, but we're born into essential goodness. And this shift, St. Augustine was so wrong. There is no original sin. That's a great way to control the masses, to collect taxes, to keep people held in fear. But there's no original sin. And anybody who's ever held a baby can know there's no way that baby was born to be bad. That baby was not born to steal my wallet or to hold me up or to shoot someone. That's something that's learned behavior. That's not what we're born with. And so to get back to that original goodness that we all have, to really honor that, because life wants to live, and it wants to live through us. And it's been living through us for hundreds of thousands of years. Everything that you know and have done is a gift from your ancestors. And our ancestors went through pandemics, plagues. They went through war. They went through famine, starvation. They went through burning at the stake. They went through all of the kinds of climate change they went through. So we have innately the capacity and resilience of hundreds of thousands of years. But how many of us take the time to even be grateful for that, to honor our ancestors and our lineage? Yeah, you might have had trouble with your parents or your grandfather, maybe horrible things happened, but really, hundreds of thousands, millions of years of evolution went into you, and life wants to live, and it wants to live through us. It's not happening, life is not happening to us. you could say in a way that we are the cosmos way of seeing itself. We are the world's way of seeing itself. We have the eyes to see the world. And yet we're blinded in separation. We're blinded by these suppressed, these times when we were protected by our nervous system have now become neuroses and habits and ways that we get stuck. But that's not what we're born to do. And when we experience stress and anxiety and overwhelm, our body is telling us, pay attention. There's some aspect that needs to be loved, that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be seen, that needs to be held, that needs to be honored. Because when we take this perspective, then growth and awakening become our path. That stress becomes part of our path. It becomes our teacher, our friend, our forgotten lover, our childhood friend. And so, the work that we're doing is to open up to stress as a teacher. What if every time I got stressed, I reminded myself that, oh, it's a teacher waving at me, trying to get my attention. Oh, hello. And I went into my body, into my emotions, into the inner world and went, what's going on in here? Not out there. You notice when we're dealing with stress, we're generally looking out there. What's happening out there to me? Well, that immediately takes you out of the present. You can't be present and do that. Now, if you are grateful for it, take it to another level. If any of you heard my interview with Brother David that was aired a week or so ago, you'll recognize that gratefulness, being grateful. Could you imagine being grateful for the stress that you have? Well, gratefulness is one of the most essential ways to bring yourself into the present. You can't be grateful and not be present. You can't be authentically grateful and be present. So, can we cultivate gratitude over stress and see stress as a teacher? So, there's so much more to say. You all probably know I have a course starting on Tuesday. I'd love to have you join us, but I want you to get an embodied sense of that. So I'd like to do with you, I'm not sure what's going to come through me, but some kind of grounding exercise to bring you fully into the body. So would you like to do a meditation together, just a guided meditation? Okay, good. So yeah, so let's just feel our feet on the floor. Let's all take a breath together. And this is so good to do in a group, in a sangha, because you can literally feel that you're not alone here, that we're doing this together. So as we take a breath together and release that breath, your out breath is my in breath. We are connected to time and space. So let's just explore that breath a little bit, because it's a cycle we can trust. It's been with us from birth and it will be with us to death. Just notice the fabric of the breath. As it comes in, feel the expansion. Pause at the top of the breath. Maybe you'll notice some little jerkiness at the top of the breath, which is held energy. And then releasing on the out breath. And if you elongate the out breath, you'll see that it just takes you right into your body. So breathing in, pausing, releasing on the out breath, extending that out breath. And feel how your senses, I just suddenly heard the birds I didn't realize were there. So it deepens my listening of my body, my surroundings. And let your breath just take you to your feet. Feel your feet connected to the floor, to the earth. You notice the four corners of the feet and just get a sense of what's going on in my feet. Maybe there's a tingling sensation or a pain or a numbness. And see if you can, just with your imagination, imagine a connection. Your back is straight, your spine is straight. Maybe pull your chin in a little bit. Feel that connection between the feet and the crown of the head. And just go through the body, noticing the movement, the sensations, the felt sense in the body. Maybe you can even look with your inner eye into the body, feeling the calves and knees, and looking for the movement. Energy is movement. Energy is flow. And you may find places that are numb. Well, those are the places that want to be loved. They're not nothing. There's something there. Just notice them. Or places there's pain. You're going to the thighs and the hamstrings and just going through the body, feeling your weight. Feeling the weight on your pelvic floor. The pressure. And feel the inner space as you go up into the upper torso. Feel the amount of spaciousness you feel in the chest, the lungs, the heart area, belly. Just noticing that sense of interior. And you feel into that. Feeling the shoulders, let them drop, and again, feeling the weight that connects us to the earth. Relaxing the arms, the upper arms, forearms. Feel the flow of blood going to the hands and the tingling in the hands. And really exploring the inner body. And same with the neck and face, and relaxing the jaw, feeling into the jaw. Relaxing the muscles around the eyes and feeling into the eyes. Feeling the crown of your head. Just let a soft wave of awareness come from the top of your head, just flowing down, connecting you with the earth. And feeling that sense of being in a body. Wonderful sense. And then notice what emotions are there. Emotions are in the body. Where are they, and what's the sense, the perfume, the subtle sense of fear, compassion, love, joy, shame, guilt, anger, sadness, grief. Maybe you have more than one emotion that's there. Feeling into, oh, I feel sad, a little sadness there. Ooh. Feels like it's in my lungs. Ah. I also feel some joy. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of fear. Yeah. Who's noticing? Where is the noticing coming from? That awareness of being in a body and having emotions, not thinking emotions or thinking sensations, actually having them. And going to the crown and just opening up, have a sense of your body is extending upwards from the crown, and a sense of golden light just coming down from the cosmos, just entering the top of your head. And this vertical axis coming down from above through the crown of the head, down the spine, and just trace it down to the tailbone and notice that it goes down into the earth. See if you can feel that sense of being connected all the way down to the center of the earth. Feel the nutriments and the love of the earth just coming up, kind of a whitish silver light coming up. And then see if you can see the light from the earth, kind of silvery light coming up into the heart, and at the same time, the golden light coming down from above, and just have a sense of those two meeting in the heart and just that sense of light. Maybe the heart is just pulsing in with light. And then allow the breath to take that light out into every cell, every cell. And just dwell in a moment in that vertical sphere, feeling the spine and the will that runs through the spine, and the ability to feel and imagine this vertical line, feeling steady and grounded in it. And now, just letting that go or be how it is. Imagine a horizontal, 360-degree horizontal sense moving out to the sides, outward. And feeling that connection of the room that you're in. If there's other people around, family, that horizontal connection, reaching out and feeling all of us on this call, all over the world, Europe, North America, South America. And just feel that sense of relatedness. How related do you feel to the outer world, to other people, to life itself? And just feel into that. And feel the steadiness of this with the vertical and the horizontal axes. This cross with your heart right in the center of it. On one hand, there's the weight connecting you to the earth, and then there's an upwelling with the light above you. Almost like you're being stretched, yet being fully grounded. And just take a moment or two to just dwell in that sense of feeling in your body with your emotions. Grounded, open, feeling the breath. And let's just take a couple more breaths together. Feel that sense of being in a group of people committed to this kind of awakening, to allowing our stresses to be teachers. To feeling that sense of separateness dissolving. Feeling that connection to life. Moving through you. And another breath or two, and then we'll come back. Just a short meditation here. And as you're ready, just softly open your eyes. So would anyone like to share their experience or any questions? Wanted to open it up a little bit to people for being involved here. And just raise your hand or wave your hand, or Deborah, is there anybody that's got their hand up there? Not yet? We're shy?
Not at the moment. They're getting ready.
Well, I hope that went deeply for you. You can always come back to that place of grounding. It's especially powerful. And in the course we have coming up, we have a lot of exercises like that. So we're really going to be looking at stress, anxiety, and overwhelm from an embodied place, from a trauma-informed place. Because trauma is simply frozen past, not necessarily even yours. It could be ancestral or communal or familial. But that's the kind of work we're going to do in the upcoming course. So anyone have anything they want to say about their experience? Joe, were you raising your hand? Or you're fixing your dials? You have to unmute yourself.
No, I just thought it was just very different than what I've been used to doing. I think a lot of what you've said is really resonated. I've had a lot of stress in my life, and it's just kind of what you said just now about your trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to decide whether or not just to say, you know what, that's it. There's nothing I can do, so I need to just get on and not get stressed by it. So yeah,
and Joe, even more than that, because I didn't go to the underneath of that. So if I'm holding it as an opportunity to grow, then what I'm looking at is underneath that, my attachment to things, and how I get security from things, and how that's really an old place that I grasp onto things, I hold onto things. And so there was in that particular case for me, there was a real freedom that happened when I saw what was under it. That's the important thing is, you get centered and you get grounded and you choose, but to have it be a teacher, then you go deeper and you go, what's happening in my body? What's happening in my emotions? And then what you find is, oh my God, I remember when I was 6 years old and I lost my dog, and I was completely lost, and I wanted something to hold on to, and my dog was gone. And that came up when I started exploring the deeper part of it. Yeah. So going beyond just being able to cope, but being able to use it for growth. That's what we're looking at here.
Well, that's why we're all trying to do these things. That's why I joined, really, because I know that I can't continue the way I'm going. So
yeah,
it's been a real discovery, your session. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Greetings. Are you in the UK, I take it?
I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
I used to say, Mary, I'll be right there. I used to say that, and I said it for years, that all suffering in the world is a product of the myth of separation, the lie of separation. And that's true, still true. I believe that all suffering, if not, I don't usually say all, but almost all anyway, suffering is a product of this sense of separation. I'm separate from my body. I'm separate from my emotions. I even talk about them as it, and but also I'm separate from the world. I'm separate from other people. And it's embedded in our language. It's embedded in our institutions. It's embedded in the way we live our lives as separate. But everything is connected, and everything does everything is connected and impacts everything else. The mystics have said that for thousands of years. Now quantum physics is absolutely verifying that in the quantum world anyway, but as above, so below, as below, so above. We are all connected. And that's what this work can do. And the thing now that I say is that, yeah, it is the myth, the lie of separation, but that lie is about our frozen past, about the traumas and the experiences that we've had, that our ancestors have, that now have been embedded in the culture where we normalize trauma. We normalize things like taking babies from their parents at the border, or like dropping bombs on people, or building atomic weapons, or shooting people, and we're numb to the impact of that. And so that's what this course is about for me. And I wanted to go through it before we end today. And maybe we'll do another little, I want to teach you a very simple grounding exercise too. But I wanted to talk about, if that's all right with you, the course, which starts Tuesday. It's called Transforming Stress, Anxiety, and Overwhelm, an Embodied Approach to Stress Reduction. So it's distinct from the other, have a good diet and get more sleep and that kind of thing. It's really about the body. And what I anticipate in that, and Deborah, did you put the flyer in the link for the course?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. So, this is really about recognizing stress as a teacher, an opportunity for personal, professional, relational growth. And we'll be doing a lot of work around grounding, breathing, meditation practices for stress results, really short ones that you can do, and also, more deeper work if you like. And one of the things that comes up in this course a lot is dealing with the inner critic. And I don't know about you, but I know I have a very loud inner critic. In fact, some of the things that I say to myself, I'd probably be arrested for if I said to someone else, you stupid, those things that just come up. And you go, where did that come from? So we're going to work with the inner critic and look at stress as a portal, as an opening. And that takes practice. And also, when we're in a group like this, the teaching and the learning goes so much faster, because someone will say something. This happens all the time in the advanced group we do. It's like popcorn. One person says something and everybody else has a transformational experience. But it really works like that when we're working together. Someone's doing their work, you'll see yourself in that work. And so if you feel any sense of stress, which most of us do, or you're out of balance, this is a great course for you. I would suggest. There's so the course, the price of the course, Deborah, remind me of the price. $295. Yeah, the price of the course is $295. So we've just added all kinds of bonuses. So I want to tell you about some of the bonuses that you not only get a 5-week course, but I've added 2 coaching sessions on the weekend. So people who are work can make them. One's on a Saturday and one's on a Sunday. So 2.5-hour personal coaching sessions that we'll be doing. But a whole lot of other things that I wanted to add in to make it totally irresistible. I hope you'll find it irresistible to join us in this. So as some of you know, I've been doing a radio show for 16 years, and I've had the incredible honor and pleasure of interviewing some of the greatest minds and thinkers and meditators and spiritual teachers of all time. And so I have some of these that I want to give to you. So I have a video interview with Robert Moss, and in the shamanic world, he is the master of active dreaming and mysterious realities. He's quite a character, but always his stories are enlightening and uplifting and a lot of fun. Many of you know Thomas Hubel. You know I'm a student of Thomas's, and I have some great interviews with him. I have an interview. This is a video interview with Thomas on being a cultural mystic. What does it mean to be a cultural mystic? You know, we think of mystics as somebody that sits in a cave and meditates for 40 years, but a cultural mystic means I'm in the world doing my work moment to moment. So we don't even have to sit on a cushion. It's like when I come into work, when I come home from work, when I'm, you know, playing a game with somebody, it's all an opportunity to be a mystic. And a mystic is someone who uses everything to evolve and awaken. I also have a 50-minute video with Richard Strozzi Heckler. I doubt too many of you know who he is. He's well known if you're in the business world, probably, but he's probably the leader in embodied leadership. What does it mean to be embodied leadership? But it applies to, we're all leaders. We're leaders if we're raising children. We're leaders if we're in the community at all. We're leaders wherever we go. But this is looking at embodied leadership. What does that mean? What is that? So there's a 50-minute interview with him. And then my favorite, of course, because it's with one of my favorite people, Heather Ash Amara, who is the, what can I say about Heather Ash? She's part of the Ruiz family, you know, the Four Agreements, and she is she's the Goddess series. She's written many books about being a goddess, the goddess warrior, she calls it. And we did a really great video that I wanted to share with you on Valentine's Day about being a love revolutionary. And I love it. You know, I watched it again. I thought, well, that's pretty good. We had a good time too. So you'll probably like that. But if that's not enough, I've got 2 more gifts that I'm going to send. I really want to make you want to do this, to get this. I just started a new thing, taking some of these interviews from the past and sharing them with you in a package. So I've put together 2 packages. One of them is a spiritual package of people I've interviewed, like Ram Dass, rare interview with Ram Dass, which is wonderful. Some of you may have heard that. It's on Be Love Now. Instead of Be Here Now, it was Be Love Now. And we had a great time, spent a day. And you can actually, it's been edited so that you can actually understand, because it was after his stroke. So, and then we have Matthew Fox, a great conversation. I've had some wonderful conversations with Matt Fox on A Way to God. Also in that package is a conversation on with Brother David on gratitude. And then Steve Taylor, also another meditator, spiritual teacher, on Clear Light, the name of his book. And then Michael Meade. And Michael Meade is an amazing friend and wisdom keeper. He's an elder. And he has, we did a piece on finding healing in a divided world. And then the second package, also a lot of great people, Shamanic Path Primer, and that's with Langston Kahn, Bill Plotkin, Sandra Ingerman, Heather Ash Amara, and Arkan Lashwala. Arkan, a lot of people don't know Arkan, but he's an amazing shamanic teacher and guide. So if that's not enough to get you to want to sign up for this, to participate, if you register in this course by Sunday night at midnight on Thursday, we're going to give 20% off to anyone who's on the call who registered, or anyone who's in this group that registers by midnight on Sunday Pacific time. So now, oh, it's 11:11. What a perfect time. It's 11:11 here anyway. So questions about the course, what you'll get, what you'd like to have to get out of it. And I never called on Mary, so I wanted to come back to Mary. I'm sorry, Mary, I got carried away. I do that from time to time.
That's okay. That's fine. I kind of half forget now what I was going to say. Sorry.
People laugh at me sometimes, Mary, because I'll be having a conversation and then I'll stop and go somewhere else, and then 2 days later I'll finish the conversation. So, anyway,
okay. It was just something you said about stress as well. That if stress happens, I would always say, why is that happening to me? Or, why is that person doing that to me? But when you said about looking in yourself, to see kind of deep down in you, it just was something that I've thought about now that I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah. Are you from the Emerald Isle, Mary?
I am, yes.
Indeed. Oh, yeah. I spent a lot of time there with my dear friend, John O'Donoghue. So I don't know if you know John's work, but I think everyone in Ireland.
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't.
Read Anam Cara. Read Anam Cara. Soul friend in Gaelic. And it's a wonderful book. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to read that. What part of Ireland?
In Connemara.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. The West. Yeah. So this statement that I made, I don't think the impact you can fully get that until you experience the difference between life happening to you and life happening through you. And when life happens through you, you are in the present, and it's not happening to you like from out there. It's like, oh, that feels, I have fear coming up. Oh, and then you explore that, and you become an archaeologist of your interiority. And when you do that, you begin to see all these stuck things in your body. And that's how we get more space. So we increase our capacity to hold it. And when you look at the world today, there's so much climate change, economic inequality, racism, all of these things are happening, and they are just beginning to happen. And so it's so important now that we cultivate presence, that we cultivate our inner awareness, and that we cultivate our capacity to be with the changes that are coming to us. And that will, if we're not prepared and in a way that we can let them move through us, it will cause great deals of stress. I mean, if it isn't enough with pandemic and COVID,
everything else.
Right, if that's not enough. But this is the time we were born in. This is what we were born to deal with. And we have the resilience. Our ancestors have given us the resilience to really meet the times. We wouldn't be here without it. We were born into this particular time. I think that's important to know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. So what other questions can I tell you? What can I tell you that would just make it absolutely irresistible for you to join us on Tuesday to start this course? What do you need? You could also write it in the chat if you like, but I love interacting with you. So what do you need? I'd just love to have each and every one of you participate with us in this course. This is the audience participation time. Anyone want to say anything? Hi, Vicky. I just saw you there. Hi.
Unfortunately for me, it would need to be free.
It would need to be free. Well, unfortunately, we have staff to pay. And
I totally understand that.
yeah, we do have an application for partial scholarships, but yeah, sorry, Neil. But I do a lot of free stuff, as you know. If you go to YouTube, you can get a lot of things too. So there's something about when you pay for something, see what you have to come up against when you pay for something is your own views of scarcity and not enough. And that's also traumatizing. A lot of people have trauma around money. And, that goes along with the inability to receive. Somehow I noticed that people, when they pay, and this was especially true in the corporate world, the more they paid, the more they got from it. So, because they let go of that sense of scarcity and not enough that so many of us live in. That's a trauma that you're talking about, Neil. And I think it's great that you bring it up. People say that's easy for you to say, but no, it's really something that all of us can work through. And it's not just scarcity around money, it's scarcity about love, around relationships, around doing the right work, around my purpose, around, relationships. So we live in a field that is filled with scarcity. And you don't get through that by holding on. You get through it by opening up to the fear of not having enough and allowing that to be your teacher. And that is the way that we deal with and learn from things like that. Yeah.
It's also about choice as well for me, because I'm on benefits over here in the UK, so I have to choose what I do with my disposable income very carefully. So I've already used up my my choice for this year for courses. So that's always a problem.
All I'm inviting you to do is to notice that you're relying on that rather than, oh, what's possible? I could create a new business. I could be a radio person, or I could do this, or I could, everyone's got skills that are valuable that other people want. So
well, this is part of my reasoning with stress, because I'm going through a transition of going from being employed by someone else, because currently I am unemployed, and coming up against a brick wall of getting employment and realizing I may need to make my own job and start working myself.
Let that be a start. Let's look at it that way rather than be scarcity, to look at, well, how am I going to now, I'm used to working for the man or the woman or whoever. Now, how can I create the life I want? Do you know that 85% of people in North America, I don't know if it's true in the UK, but probably the same, 85% of the people don't like their jobs, hate their jobs. That's amazing. Because we all have things that we love to do. And when you do what you love, you can figure out how to make it make money. I don't care what it is. You can figure out how to make a living from it. So anyway, Neil, thanks. I'm not meaning to be pushy about you doing that, but you raised something, I think, that is one of those traumas that, we can only see, oh, I can get a job. And yet there's this whole universe of, looking at what we love and turning that into, that's one of the things that people often get out of these courses is completely changing their careers. But
no, and I just want to say I didn't feel any pressure with it. It's just literally it's where I am.
Yeah. It's great. That's what's moving through you right now. Exactly.
It's untangling my own knot.
Yeah, lovely. It's so nice to have so many people from the UK and from Europe here. I love that. I actually set the time so that it would be a good time for people in Europe, because we left them out last time, left you all out. So anything else that you'd like to to know about the course, like the meat of the course, anything that, you can, of course, look at the flyer, which I think is in the, what just happened? Hold on a second. I lost you. Ah, there you are. And there I am too. So this is really an opportunity to anything like what Neil was saying or anything else, you want to look at, or any questions you have about the course. And I do want to give you another simple, very simple grounding experience. So it's very simple. It's called the pause. Whenever you get triggered or throughout the day, just stop and do a pause. I have it on my timer to do a pause, to put my feet on the floor and either standing or sitting, close my eyes, feel my connection to the earth, and take 3 nice, deep, long breaths. Let's just do it with me now. Put your feet on the floor, feel into your body, and take 3 deep breaths. Breathing in, pause, release. Breathing in, pause, release. Breathing in, pause, and release. And just take a moment to check into your inner body. Get a sense of the stillness that creates, sense of space. And it's so simple. We forget to do that. So if nothing else out of this, I hope you just practice the pause. Pause is very important. So it's time to bring it to a close. Anyone have anything they want to say before we close? Any last question or comment or request?
So
Yes.
Mike, what will be happening I think there are 5 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So what will be happening in the 5 sessions?
Okay. Let me find it here and go through it, because I think it's in the chat somewhere. Deborah, where did you put that? Let's see. There it is. Okay. So they're pretty organized in this way. So if you look at, if you look at the first module, it's really looking at part of what we talked about today. What is stress and what are the gifts behind stress? So we really dig into that, and we do work with the breath. All of these have somatic and body things and meditations. Every single one will have that. So we're looking at the gifts. We're looking at the breath for stilling the mind, ways to still the mind. And one of the most important thing in the first session of anything, anyone who's taken any courses with me know, is about creating safety. I'm really committed to having safe space for people to experience and participate in the work. And I think anyone who's here that's worked with me knows that's really important for me, that it feels safe and that everyone feels safe. In the second one, we look at emotional. Well, so we begin to look at the body and the breath, and then we look at emotional intelligence or awareness, embodied emotional awareness. So how our emotions are the fabric of our relationship, and how that relates to a sense of belonging. Many of us feel like we don't belong, and so we deal with that issue. We work with full body listening to really be able to listen to farthest sounds, and to open up all of our senses, and to be able to tell what's true and what's not true. I don't know if you hear the dog outside, but my neighbor's dog is howling. Hopefully that's not interfering with you as much as it is me. And so we're working with transcending the myth of separation in consciousness. And so we do a lot of connecting with each other in the course, in this safe space that we create. And we do some meditations around shifting from form consciousness with the outer world to space consciousness, both inner and outer space, which is a big shift in consciousness and the way we see the world. In the third week, we'll be working with thoughts and feelings, and the difference, and kind of discover how our negative thoughts affect our emotions, our feelings, and the difference between that and feeling emotions in the mind and feeling them in the body. That's a hard one for some people to actually get. And relating to life as it is, and really getting clear about what is and what isn't, and working with the need to always be in how it should be in life rather than how it is, and to practice. This is a practicing work. By the way, between the second and third, we have a coaching session, which is just come and we do a lab and we just do coaching with people, and we work with that. And so the fourth session is all about perception and reality. You know, we think that what we see is reality, but actually our perception is what reality is. We see through the lens of our worldview, and to really get clear about that and know how we know things, and discover how our beliefs shape our worldview and how that shapes the world around you. For instance, the issue Neil and I were talking about money, you know, that's one of those things that we look for. How come some people money just flows to them, and other people are always scraping and reaching and trying to get money? You know, what is that about? So we're moving from the sense of an objective world to a subjective world, which is, if you're a perfectionist or you have a lot of stress around getting things right, this is a really important one for you there. And then the fifth one is on living a congruent life. So my mind, my body, my emotions, and my relational intimacy are all in alignment. There's an authentic alignment of who I am and who I'm being in the world. And then there's one more coaching session after 5 that is a bonus extra thing that I add in to do a laboratory, do personal work with people. So yeah, so that's it. So thank you so much for taking the time. Obviously, you're people who really care and really want to make a difference and have your life make a difference. And I'm really touched by that. And I also want to thank the invisible forces, which is most of the world, the 99.9% of the invisible forces, the ancestors and all of our guides and all of our relations, for supporting us in this this gathering today. It's just a real gift to be with you and spend time together. So remember, if you want the 20% discount, that's good till Sunday night, tomorrow night at midnight Pacific time. Anything I've forgotten to say, Deborah, that I need to say?
I think that you have beautifully covered every single detail and more. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your support. So good. We have such an amazing team. It's really wonderful. If somebody's interested in participating in that way, let me know. So much love to you all. Thank you for taking the time, and I will hopefully see you on Tuesday. It'd be great to have you with us.
Michael, so beautiful.
Thank you. Bye. Much love to you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Okay. Figure out the buttons.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very, very wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Janice. I hope you join us. Much
Thank you.
love.
I'm very much considering.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Michael.
Bye.
Yeah. And bye. Nice to see some of you I didn't mention. Hi again, Vicky and Jane and Ayana and some of the people that are
Jane.
long times. My daughter was even here. Alex. Hi.
Oh, wow.
All right. Take care. I'm going to shut
Take
these
care.
down now. Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah.